What is that?
Your sex life. No,
Yeah, tell me about it.
Non-existent. Who's your favorite grandkid?
My favorite grandkid. Oh, that's not fair. Oh, you put me on the spot. I'll say you.
Okay, today I'm going to be interviewing my grandmother. So this is Norma Betts, what we call her Dana. And she was supposed to come and visit last Christmas, but it got canceled due to COVID. But before she was going to arrive, I asked a question on Reddit. If you could ask a 104-year-old any question, what would it be? And I got hundreds of responses. So I'm going to ask her some of them today. However, she's now 105. And you'll also notice she's written a book about her life, which is My Life of 103 Years Old, because that was written 2 years ago. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Okay, this is a tough one right off the bat. What's the meaning of life?
I didn't hear you.
What's the meaning of life?
The meaning of life? To be happy and have peace on earth. Just to enjoy life.
Okay.
Don't worry so much.
What
I tell
is
myself.
What's your earliest memory?
The day we moved from New Albany, Indiana, to Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is 5 miles apart. And I was playing horsey on a rolled up rug in the living room. And that's the furthest I can remember.
How old
I
were you?
have very vague memories of playing, and we had a playhouse.
Mhm.
And my grandfather gave it to us, and he had it built. And we played in that, and I can just barely remember. And I've seen a picture of me in a tree, sitting on a limb, and I mean, pictures bring back memories.
Do you know how old you were?
Well, that was in New Albany, and I was 4 when we moved to Jeff. We moved in March, so I had just turned 4, I guess.
Okay. If you had the chance to undo all your aging, but keep your memories and experiences, would you want to live another 100 years?
If it would be not advantageous, that's not the word. No,
No?
I don't think I would.
How come?
There's too much cruelty, unrest,
Mm.
crime, and
Do you think it's gotten worse lately? Do you think it's gotten worse lately?
I still don't know what she's saying.
Like crime and cruelty, has it gotten worse?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Life was really simple. But bad shape now.
Mm. Besides family, who's the most memorable person in your life?
Besides family. Uh, well, one person that I really like, I go to church service for seniors on a Thursday morning, every Thursday morning. And Larry Garwood is the minister, and he leads the service. And it's on Thursday mornings from 10 to 11. And I really admire him. He's interesting. He's just he's a nice person.
Okay.
I just think so much of it.
When did you meet your husband? When did you know you were in love? How did he propose?
Which one?
You've had two, right?
Yeah. Well, the first one, he was a blind date, and he was from Wisconsin, and I loved to hear him talk. I kind of fell for that, and but all of our courting was by traveling. He would come down to. He had a business, a dairy in Muncie, Indiana, and I would go up there on weekends, and that's where Ball State Teachers College is. I think it's just Ball State now. And I would go up and spend a weekend with my cousin. Her daughter was going to college, and so she knew that they'd be up there for 4 years. So she bought a house and rented it out to students.
Mm-hmm.
And in 4 years, then my cousin graduated, and I just thought it was just the one, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the second one, I was living in Columbus, Ohio, and I didn't know anybody, so I joined a seniors group, and I went to a party house one night, and there was Bob in his sock feet dancing. He was a good dancer, and he was just he swiped me off my feet. I really fell for him that very night. So I believe in love at first sight.
And how soon after that did you get married?
10 months.
10 months.
He said, I want to know, I want us to go together all 4 seasons. And we did.
Hmm. Cool.
So,
What is it like to have lived through two global pandemics? Because you were born in 1917, right?
mm-hmm.
So you were born during the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
So what's that
And
like?
that was terrible. And of course, I was only a year old, so I don't remember anything about it. But I had a girlfriend that she lost both of her parents, and an aunt raised her, and she wasn't very nice to her. So I always felt sorry for Helen.
Mm. What are your favorite cheeses?
Cheeses.
Yeah.
My favorite cheeses. Uh, I like Swiss. Swiss is one of my favorites.
Okay. Do you look at 85-year-olds and think of them as young?
Some are and some aren't.
It's relative.
uh, yeah. Well, I don't think of them as young, but I feel like they're quite a bit younger than I am.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think you've lived so long? Do you think it's what you eat, where you live, how active you are? Or do you have a glass of wine every day?
All the above, I guess. Um, I don't know.
What's the secret? That was a very common question I got. What's the secret?
I'm asked that question all the time. What do I attribute my longevity to? Um, I just, I like life. I mean, I've enjoyed my adventurous ways. Um, I always tell people I just eat everything, and I'm healthy.
Hmm.
I'm very healthy, and my parents were healthy.
Hmm.
And I don't know whether any of you have ever heard of kelp. It's like
Fish?
a seaweed,
Yeah.
and they took that. They didn't take any medicine. They just took kelp, and they were both healthy, very healthy. So it's hereditary.
Well, that leads me to the next question. Tell us about your grandparents. Do you remember them?
The what?
Your grandparents.
My grandpa. I only had out of the four grandparents that you person had, I had one, and that was my mother's father. He was born in 1850, and when I think he was 6 years old when his mother brought him from Germany,
Hmm.
and they came to the United States. And then his mother remarried, and they ended up in Louisville.
Do you remember him?
Oh, my grandfather. Oh, definitely, yes. He was a stately man, and he loved to go to the like a sauna. He
Hmm.
would go up to Martinsville, Indiana,
Hmm.
and they had this like sauna baths, and he would go up there. There was a man from Vincennes, Indiana, that would come over. The chauffeur would drive the man over and pick up my grandfather and go up there. My
Okay.
grandfather he was a true gentleman. He was a wonderful person and a nice man. I mean, good habits, and I loved him very much.
What is one thing that exists now that you wish you could have had when you were younger? And what's one thing from the past that no longer exists that you wish still did?
I gotta think about that.
Come back to.
Oh, can you help me on
We
that?
can come back to it.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Do you remember the automobile becoming popular? And in what ways did it change society that you experienced?
What ways did it change what?
Society. Do you remember the automobile coming around?
Yes, I remember an open car. It didn't have a
Yeah.
top on it,
Hmm.
That was way back, probably 1917.
Did you take joyrides when you were a teenager?
My grandfather taught me to drive a car, and he used to pick me up at high school, and we'd go over on the river road, and he'd say, "Now, do you want to take the wheel?" And I said, "Yeah." So I'd scoot over him, and he'd let me, do the steering. And then eventually he said, "Well, I think you know how to drive." So he got out, and then I got the driver's seat, and from then on, I drove.
Okay.
And my license were 50 cents,
And
50,
how old were you when you got your license?
16,
Okay.
16, yeah.
So you just got invited back to your high school. Why don't you tell us about it?
I graduated from high school in 1935, and there were 120, yeah, 63 girls and 63 boys. Perfect, which is very unusual, very rare. And I'm the last one. And I was interviewed at the high school a couple of weeks ago, and I received a certificate as the oldest living uh, graduate of Jeff High, which I'm really proud of. And I had wished that we had carried on, until there were hardly any left. But they only had 3 reunions, the 25th, the 45th, and the 50th. And after that, we would meet every once in a while and go out for lunch or something, but just the 3 big reunions. And the 45th was the best of all. And so in the program on the 45th, they were giving out prizes, and the one that came the farthest distance, and the usual questions that they asked. And the most recent married, and my hand went up, and because we had just been married. Well, I was married in 78.
To Bob?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And our prize was a carton of cigarettes, and neither one of us smoked. I mean, we had, but we quit, quite. And we'd only been married, like 6 months, I think. So, and then, we were kind of kidding me,
Mm-hmm.
but okay.
Okay, next. That kind of leads into the next one. How's your sex life at 105? You got any
What
point?
is that?
Your sex life? No,
Yeah, tell me about it.
non-existent?
Well, when you live alone, you live alone.
Mm.
You can dream, but
Okay. What's your favorite candy?
candy, Milky Way,
Okay. What's your favorite drink?
Pepsi,
Pepsi.
and coffee.
Uh-huh. What's the hardest thing you've lived through, and how did you get through it?
The 37 flood.
Really?
Yeah, that was in 1937.
Mm-hmm.
And it had rained and rained and rained in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is right across from Louisville. Um, was Jeffersonville was 90% underwater, and my father's business, which was the ice cream factory, it was 10 feet over the building. That was a real low spot
Wow.
in the town. So we had to get out. They called it Black Monday, Black Sunday. I think that's what it was. That's the day we got out, and the water was up to the hubcaps on the car.
Mm.
And Mother said, "Well, this I don't know what she told me to take, but I took a formal, being a teenager."
Yeah.
35, let's see, 18, 20. Well, I was 20 years old. So I just took dumb stuff. Well, we were up there for 21 days in Port Fulton. That was the high spot in town. So there was 10% of the city that was not in the flood. There was 21 people, and every day they had to go to the commissary to get food. And one night I told Mother, I said, I'm hungry. I wish I had something to eat. She said, well, there isn't anything to eat. They gave you enough food for the day for 21 people, you know. The commissary, they just brought food in and then they doled it out. So if somebody from the household had to go to the commissary every day and get it. We ate cabbage and a lot of cheap food, you know. We didn't have steak or anything. And we were up there for 10 days and we moved back into our house on my brother's birthday. Is February the 3rd. And we had a jar of olives, and we had a can of pork and beans, and we had some hot dogs. And that was his birthday dinner.
Mhm.
And we cooked the hot dogs over the fireplace in the living room. And the water was, well, everybody helped everybody else, you know, move furniture up on the second floor if you had a second floor. And you know, it brought people together and you had compassion for each other and it wasn't all bad, you know. We had 21 people there and somebody had a guitar
Mhm.
and then we just made our own fun, if you want to call it fun. Oh, it was pitch dark at night and you wouldn't dare go out of the house. I mean, they could shoot to kill. I mean, that's what they told us, you know, they scared us so we wouldn't go out.
Mm.
And people got lost from each other. Uh, this one lady, she didn't know where her husband was.
Mm.
Well, a lot of people stayed back in Jeff to help them. They got out on coal cars, I mean, trains. Uh, you've seen these where hobos ride, you know, in a cattle car. And I mean, it was very crude times. And we didn't have many clothes, you know, we didn't take them with us. And
Yeah.
so we were the bare essentials. And so we were glad to get back. I started to say that this lady didn't know where her husband was, and he had gotten out on he went with some people, and he ended up in Paris, uh, Kentucky. And so there was a doorbell, and this lady went to the door, and there stood her husband, and she just fell back, just
Mm.
fainted right there on the spot. She was so glad to see her husband.
Mm.
But he was helping people, you know, get out, survive.
Yeah.
There were not very many drownings, hardly at all, but the town was a mess.
Yeah. It's tough.
Took a long time before it ever got back to normal.
Well, on the flip side of that, what is your happiest memory?
That's a secret.
You don't want to share?
Well, no, I don't
Okay.
really. Well, no, let's go to the next question.
Okay. Do you think you had a better youth than the youth of today?
Now, I didn't get it.
Do you think you had a better youth than the youth of today, a better childhood than kids would today?
Oh, yes. We made our own fun, and it was just honest to goodness fun. And you didn't have to worry about drugs or uh, It was just peaceful time. And now it's just, you know, I guess I would have been happy if I had died 10 years ago. Oh, the last 10 years, it has really been bad. And I'm sorry. I mean, there's a lot of good people, but there's a lot of bad ones too. You have to worry about children worry about their parents, and parents worry about the children, and the parents are not responsible for their children when they reach, say, around high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad, but we try to teach our kids what life is all about, and of course, I'm not proud of everything that I did. I drank a little bit, not that much though. And but I smoked.
Mm-hmm.
I smoked a long time. 40 years.
Well, at least you quit.
I quit in 1979,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't smoked since.
What do you think was the happiest decade?
The 30s.
Why?
There was dances, just parties. We would have almost every weekend somebody would, well, they wouldn't call them parties. It's just a gang over at your house. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, at my house, we had a basement under the whole house, and we'd have we had dances down there, parties, and just it was a good time.
Okay.
Good time to be alive.
What was it like being a teenager or a young adult during the Depression?
Well, we didn't know any different. I mean, we economized and did without and all that. But I remember my mother saying, well, now you kids, you just can't have everything. And I mean, my father made good money, and we were not deprived of anything.
What did your father do?
My, well, she worked for my grandfather. I mean, he was in the ice business, and then he went into the ice cream business. And then my father took over, and then that's when he worked for the railroad when Mother and Daddy got married.
Mm-hmm.
He was working for the Eldon Railroad. And then he went in the ice business, and I can remember these great big hunks of ice. I don't know whether they were 100-pound chunk of ice or what,
Like
but the ice wagon would come around, and
for refrigeration?
oh, we had ice box,
Mm-hmm.
and if you wanted ice, you could get a 25 piece of ice, or I don't know what was the biggest, but they even carried it into your house
Mm-hmm.
and put it in your ice box. Put the ice in your ice box.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about my mother, she trained everybody. Nobody, she didn't do business at the front door. Everybody, the grocer, uh, everybody, all deliveries, all the back door.
You have a milkman?
Huh?
Did you have a milkman?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. He came. Now I can't remember how many times a week. It wasn't every day. But I remember the last day, and this was in Cincinnati, and we moved there in 1950. And Um, the ice man, he said, "Well, today's my last day," and he was out of a job then because people were getting refrigerators,
Mhm.
and then gradually, my father went out of the ice cream business because he could see the writing on the wall. He knew that people were getting refrigerators and
Yeah.
making their own ice cream. So that's when he started a laundry business
Mm.
in the same building. And so
Do you remember your first job?
my first job I made, it wasn't much of a job. I just worked 1 week for somebody in Louisville, and I made $5 that week.
Doing what?
Huh?
What did you do?
I don't remember what I did. I guess I did some typing. I don't remember.
What's the best meal you've ever had?
Probably on a ship, maybe,
A cruise ship?
as far as a fancy meal. But my mother was a good cook, and she cooked many a good, delicious meal.
What was your favorite?
Well, always fried chicken. I like meatloaf and steak, but we had more common meals than we did specialty meals.
Yeah. If you could meet your past self at the age you are now, what advice would you give her?
Now, wait a minute, say that again.
This is worded kind of strange. Oh, me. Oh, okay. They're asking if you could meet your past self at my age. I'm 35. So you're meeting yourself at 35. What would you say to her?
At 35, at 36, I had your mother.
Hmm.
That was my third baby. And
It's the ice.
okay, what was,
What would you say to your 35-year-old self?
well, I think you're doing all right. You're sensible. You use common sense, I think.
Seems to have worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
Do you remember the first time you had sex? How did it happen?
I got married. That was Clem.
Hmm. My mom's dad.
Hmm.
My mom's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what was your favorite era of fashion?
What?
Fashion, clothing.
Oh, fashion. Uh, well, our family, we always like to dress nice. And I mean, nowadays, what people wear to church
Hmm.
or to a big function, they wear jeans. Oh my goodness. If somebody would have worn jeans, on a date, you'd have thought they were strictly from the country, down in the hills of Kentucky. We always like to dress nice.
Did you have a favorite decade?
Favorite what?
A decade for fashion.
Oh, decade.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say during wartime, but there wasn't a lot. Well, wartime, of course, lasted for 4 years, but it was good times and bad times, and I can't just pick out one decade.
Okay. Who's the most famous person you've ever met?
The most famous, well, that I really, I've just loved her, Dale Evans. You don't know who Dale Evans is?
I
Or
don't.
Roy Rogers?
Roy Rogers, I know.
Okay, they were married.
Okay.
And so one time when I came down from Cincinnati, when we lived in Cincinnati, came down to your mother's father's house, and I, I was going to
Okay.
tell you something. I forget what it was. I'm old. I forget. I'm getting forgetful.
That's fine.
Maybe you noticed, but I'm still kicking.
What's your favorite song?
Song, Stardust is one of them.
Who sings that?
The stars fell in Alabama. Oh, that was a stormy weather.
Okay.
Good night, Irene. Oh, I love the old songs.
You want to sing something? No. Okay. What kinds of things did you do with your mom
Things that I did with them.
to spend time together?
The Sound of Music was in Louisville, on the stage. And my sister and my mother. And I don't know, I think there was somebody else. And we went to Louisville to see it, and oh, I love that. Sound of Music. That's a great, great play.
What did you think the year 2022 would be like when you were a child?
Not like this.
Do you think we'd have
Well,
flying
you
cars?
don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You just don't. It's a mystery of what's coming up. You don't know.
Let's see. This is a bit of an open-ended question, but a lot of people asked about World War II.
A lot
So,
of people, what?
asked about World War II. What did you think about it? It's kind of an open-ended question. What did you think about finding out about the Nazi concentration camps? Do you remember hearing about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh, I wasn't as concerned because I was dating, I was having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt kind of guilty because I know some of the guys that I had dates with from Fort Knox, they probably never came home.
Mm.
I don't, and I would, during the wartime, I corresponded with 22 service people
Wrote them letters?
and wrote the letters. And I'd go down in the basement in a hot day, in the summer, and I was corresponding with 22 servicemen. And of course, my father was in the laundry business, and so we had the shirt boards, and I kept a score, and I had all the names listed and everything, and the ones that the letter that went out and then the letter that I received, and I had a business set up, but oh, that I mean, it's awful to say it, but I had a good time too because they had the USOs,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Just always said I'd rather dance than eat.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I just loved to dance.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I was going to say in the ground, but I'm going to be cremated. I'm not going to be around, I'm quite sure. If I am, I am. But I don't think I will. I'm failing too fast.
Let's see. What were your favorite toys as a kid?
Favorite toys?
When you were a kid, yeah. You remember?
I played with dolls. I always said I went from playing dolls, holding them in my arms, to having dates and them holding me in their arms, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh. Was the microwave a miraculous invention to you, or was it scary?
Repeat it again.
The microwave? Do you remember?
Oh, oh, not too long ago, your mother said, "What? You took lessons to run the microwave?" And she said, "Well, you just open the door, put it in, turn." No, I remember when I got it. Yeah, we went. There were two ladies and myself, and we went to wherever it was. I don't remember where, but they told you all about the microwave.
Did you think it was cool?
Well, oh, well, sure.
Mm.
But I told Nancy, she kept saying, "Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Oh, you can just, have a meal so fast." And I said, "I don't need a microwave. I'm home all day long, and I've got plenty of time to cook. So I don't need a microwave." But once you get one,
You use it, yeah.
you're going to keep it.
What do you remember about us landing on the moon?
And what?
Remember landing on the moon?
I didn't hear you.
When the US landed on the moon. Do you remember? Did you watch it on TV? The moon landing?
The what?
The moon landing.
Oh, the moon landing. Yeah, yeah, from the patio in Cincinnati, Green Hills. Yeah, we were sitting out on the patio and we were watching the moon landing, and
On
it was
TV?
pretty neat.
You watched it
Pretty,
on TV?
huh?
On TV?
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Hmm. Oh, that's a loaded question. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Okay. What do you think about COVID?
It was terrible. Of course, the Spanish flu was, 1918,
Mhm.
and this was similar to it. I don't know which was worse, but a lot of people died in 17, 18.
Mhm.
But I was fortunate, and Gary got it. He was in the hospital over a week.
Yeah, my uncle. Do you feel as wise as people think you are?
Wise? Uh, I don't know what people think of me.
Well, they say the older you get, the wiser you get.
Yeah,
You think you're wise?
I don't know. Now I think I'm going backwards.
Mm.
I'm getting more helpless, and uh, I always said I hope that I go just like my father did. He just keeled over. That was it. He was in the hospital, not because he was sick or anything. The doctor put him in the hospital. He said, I want you to see a dietitian, and I want her to put you on a diet, and I want you to lose that big belly of yours. My father had a big
Mm.
stomach, like Gary does now, and like some people, they just they're beer bellies, they call them. Uh, okay, what's the next one?
Do you remember your first friend?
Rent,
Friend.
paying rent.
Do you remember your first friend? A childhood friend? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, first friend.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, um, I had playmates,
Hmm.
always had friends around me. Um, There's one particular, she lived in Midway. Midway was between New Albany and Jeffersonville. And Midway was between them. And we'd take the interurban, which is a streetcar that traveled from Jeff to Indianapolis. And so I'd go down on a Friday. I'd go down, spend the weekend, and I'll never forget it. Her mother was, they didn't have a lot of money, and so they never had anything real fancy. But she always had peas. I guess she liked peas and pork chops and fried potatoes, and I loved all of that. And so she was my good girlfriend. And the first time I ever went down was on a Friday after school, and so walked in her house, and there was a piano, and I said, "Oh, who plays?" And she said, "I do." And I said, "Well, you never told me you played." Well, I just sort of played just for fun.
Mm.
She could play anything. She played by ear. And now my sister played by ear. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Lou, oh, she said, well, just hum it, and then I'll play along. And oh, I just love to go down. And right, it was kind of out in the country. And the next door was the florist in Jeff. And it was I forget the name of the floors, but the greenhouses, you know what a greenhouse is,
Hmm.
and they had all these cut flowers, they're all growing there. Oh, I'd love to go over, and she'd say, come on, let's go over and smell the flowers.
Mm.
And I'd love to go down to stay with Lou. She was so much fun. She was a self-taught person. She never did graduate from high school. I think she quit in her senior year. And she was just so much fun to be with. Sweet girl. Okay,
What's your favorite holiday?
my favorite.
Holiday. Holiday. Christmas?
Oh, holiday.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Do you have a favorite Christmas tradition?
No, but my father did, and every Christmas I knew what he was going to do. We were just probably before we opened our gifts, and he would go out in the kitchen and bring a plate. Each one of us had a plate, and we had an orange on that plate. We each got an orange because it was a treat in those days. You know, they didn't have the fruit,
Yeah.
and candy too. I mean, it was limited.
Yeah.
Didn't have all the candy that they do now.
How long do you sleep during the night?
How long do I sleep? Oh, that's you just there's no set time. A lot of times I stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning. I just because I usually take a nap every afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
and even if I don't, my sleep pattern is about the same, and I sleep late in the morning then. It's just not like clockwork, go to bed at a certain time and get up at a certain time. I just do my own thing. Whatever turns me on, so the expression.
What's your favorite movie?
Movie, uh, well, there's a lot of good ones. The Sound of Music and
Mm-hmm.
uh, oh, I can't think of it. Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
And Roots. Uh, oh, I'd have to think about it. I could start naming 3 or 4 dozen.
Do you have any funny stories of your kids?
Do I have any what?
Funny stories of your
Funny
kids?
stories? Well, the funniest thing that's ever happened to me that I got so tickled. I was Linda's, my cousin, and I mean my niece, my sister's girl. Well, anyway, I would go over, and I've stayed as long as almost 2 weeks. But so we'd take turns about saying grace at the table, One time she'd say it, and next time I would say it. So I said the blessing, and I said goodbye. Never realized what I said, and all of a sudden I thought I didn't say amen. Oh, we got to laughing. We laughed the next day about as hard as we did when it happened. And every time we think of it, we just laugh because they came down, for your mother's wedding. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, that was so funny. That's the hardest I ever laughed.
Where were you during 9/11?
Your mother called me up and she said, "Do you have TV on?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Go get it." And I turned it on and just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else, you're just stunned,
Mm-hmm.
just disbelief. It was awful.
Yeah.
We went to church that night. A lot of churches had, it was open door. So yeah, the church was packed.
Mm. Do you remember when women got the right to vote?
No,
No?
no, that was before my time.
Oh, okay. I'm getting through it. Do you remember the cartoon Oswald the Lucky Rabbit?
Mm-mm.
No. Let's see. A lot of these are repeat questions.
Hmm?
A lot of these are repeat questions, so I'm
Yeah.
skipping through them. Did you get a letter from the Queen on your 100th birthday?
No, not from the Queen. But one thing that I did get, the flag that flew over the Capitol on my birthday,
Oh, yeah?
I got the flag.
It's pretty cool.
Yep, that was pretty cool.
Do you remember any slang words from when you were young?
Slang,
Mm-hmm.
soldier old man,
What's that?
uh, what, alligator. Oh, what was it? See you later, alligator.
Yeah.
I'd have to stop and think of them. There's a lot of them.
What's your favorite color?
It was green. And then I've kind of added pink. I like pink now.
Pink.
Pink is an old.
That's
is
what I'm wearing. Pink and green. Oh, this is a good one. Who's your favorite grandkid?
my favorite grandkid. Oh, that's not fair. Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I'll say you.
I was born on Dana's birthday, so um have you ever been completely happy?
Well, yeah. Lots and lots of times. Millions of times.
That's
Sure.
good.
I was always happy when I was traveling
Mm.
because I loved to travel. I get that wanderlust from my grandfather because he always liked to travel.
Did you have a favorite place that you went to?
The Amish country.
Really?
The Amish country, oh, I love it. And Bob and I would leave in the morning, eat early breakfast, and to get up there, maybe 10 o'clock. Well, then you'd have practically a full day, and we'd stay at bed and breakfast, and then we'd make 2 days of it. And we'd do that. I love the Amish country and the food.
Tell us about your first passion. Your first passion. Was it dance?
My first passion,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll skip it. We're actually getting through a lot of these, so.
How many years did it take you to make up those
I didn't
questions?
make these up. These are questions from the internet.
Oh, I thought you were
No, these are people asking you
clever.
from the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Coca-Cola taste different than it used to? Or Pepsi? You like Pepsi, right?
Now say it again.
Do you like Pepsi or Coke?
Um, your mother always makes fun of me because for almost 50 years I never drank Cokes. I've said I was allergic to them. And one time your mother said, well, if you haven't had a Coke for 50 years, she said, try one now. Said, it's not going to hurt you. She said, your taste changed.
Mm-hmm.
And here all these years went by. Why Coke? Oh, drank Coke and it never affected me at all. So I just wasted 50 years of not drinking a Coke. But I drank so many that I think that's I kind of got foundered on them. And so I like coffee.
This is a question about my parents. Did you always he's over there. My dad's off camera. Did you ever disapprove of how they raised me?
Uh, Did I disapprove of how they raised you?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, nothing serious. No,
Okay.
I think they did a pretty good job. Don't you? Turned out pretty good.
What was it like to see color TV for the first time?
When did I see it?
What was it like to see it in color?
Oh, black and white.
Yeah, but when it switched over to color, do you remember?
Yeah, that's about the, let's see, that's when we lived in Louisville, 66 to 69. Yeah. And color, oh, color was terrific. And it kept getting better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, it's been the same for many years now.
And when you were,
The next thing the TV, they're going to jump out and grab you.
yeah,
So, because what's new now? You know,
have you ever watched 3D?
what?
Have you ever watched 3D? 3D television where it comes out?
No,
No, you've never seen it? Okay, I'll have to show you. Did you listen to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds?
I did not. I did not watch it, but I heard about it probably the next day or
Mm-hmm.
that same day. It's kind of vivid.
Yeah. What did your family think of FDR?
Of
FDR.
uh, well, it was just another president. I mean,
Nothing special?
so many. I wish I had brought my list of presidents.
Do
I
you ha
think I think I did know now. I think I've 20 27. No, I don't know. I'd have to have a list, and I could tell you. Woodrow Wilson was president when I was born.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive.
I'll take your word for it. Did you have a favorite president?
I like the young Bush.
Hmm.
I like him. Uh, well, I like the older man too. Barbara. I love Barbara.
Hmm.
And I saw her in person. I was as far as here to your dad twice, you know.
Hmm. Okay.
She
I think
came
we're
to
done.
she came to Louisville. Um, let's see, why did she come? Oh, they had a new library that opened up in Cincinnati, I think it was. And yeah, I love Barbara Bush.
Well, I think we've reached the end of the questions. Is anything else you want to talk about?
No, but I think that it's nice that you have interviewed me. I mean, if I had time to think of each question, I could have answered it probably quite a bit better. But when you just, ask a question, you got to answer it right now. You can't think fast enough.
Oh, I just got a question from the peanut gallery. Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
What's the most meaningful relationship in your life?
Now or in my lifetime,
In your lifetime?
my parents.
Okay.
How did you,
He wrote it.
huh?
He wrote it. Do you want to answer what's your biggest regret You never answered that one.
Did you think about it? In your entire life, 105 years, what do you regret? Not going somewhere. What's the biggest regret of 105 years? Not going to a dance of some kind?
Yes, I can tell you something. Yes, I can. Um, I I liked Clem, and then I got so that I didn't like him as much as when I first met him. So anyway, he was in, this is wartime, and he was in Trinidad for 2 years. And he wrote and said that he was coming to Jeff. He was coming to see me because they were shipping him out of Trinidad. The times were so bad. I mean, the guys were bored, I guess, and they started committing suicide
Mm.
and killing themselves. And they said, "You better get these guys out of here." So then he came home. He came home. I was working at the laundry, and I saw him walking down the street. Here he had come from Trinidad. Well, in the meantime, maybe you've ever heard about it, the mother and I went to Fort Bliss, Texas, to visit Chalky when he was in the service. And I met this guy, his name was Andy. So Andy, I thought, oh, he's pretty cool. He called me and said he was coming to Jeff. And if he did, they both came the same day. And who did I go out with? Not Clem. Came all the way from Trinidad
Mm.
to see me. And oh, that was terrible. That was dirty.
Mm.
I mean, he came so far and wanted to see me because he loved me, and I was kind of indifferent.
Mm.
And I've always regretted that I treated him like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was a wreck. Oh, I was a total wreck. And I had a friend, and she lived down on Penn Street. You know where Penn Street is. And oh, I went to her and I said, "What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Which one am I going out with?" And it was the wrong one. It wasn't Clem.
Mm.
But you still married Clem.
And he
So
could.
it worked out.
Well, then we got married in 25 years and 3 months. And I was married to Bob 25 years and 5 months.
Mm.
If there's one, is there one experience throughout your life that you would love to relive because it brings you so much joy?
Did you say
Nope. It's okay.
a husband or friend? Would you?
Is there any experience in your 105 years that you remember with such fondness that you would love to replay it again exactly how it was?
Well, I was very, very happy with Bob.
Would you
I
want to
could have
relive all the
gone on another 50 years with him.
Yeah.
That'd be 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that concludes